we'll check in with them to try and characterize what they're witnessing now, but it is quite the scene in downtown Toronto. Chaotic at different moments, relatively calm at others, tense seemingly through all of them, as we witness another situation where the police are moving in on those crowds. We've reached Stephen by a mobile phone. Stephen, what can you say?
Well, the mystery that many were wondering as to where we were going, I hope now, I believe. They flanked us to the left, I guess, to use a bit of some military parlance. Walking through the park, it was just a normal day. There was nothing, no special equipment or nothing set up. So there's something we'll have to follow up with the summit organizers about after all of this is said and done. There was an interesting moment, actually, just earlier when we were being pushed back and everyone was falling back from the line. There was an elderly gentleman who was just out for a walk, actually, and just a stroll through the park, and quite unaware as to what was going on, he actually went up to the police officers thinking he could get by, and the police officers quickly informed him that he was not going to head in the direction that he wanted to go. So an interesting little dichotomy between the thousands of protesters being moved back, or hundreds of protesters being moved back, and this one gentleman trying to get through the line.
In the way of the broadcast, quite frankly, they're doing pretty well, all things considered. The police continue to move in on that area. We've seen a couple of shots there in the last few moments with people on the ground, police officers around them. Once again, unclear, like it was a little while ago, is whether people were hurt or in the process of arrest. Last time it turned out they were on process of arrest. They looked like they were being arrested at that point as well. Here on back on Queen Street, they've seemed to have finally put the fire out on that police vehicle, which was on fire for quite a while. There were at least, as it turns out, Susan Ormiston tells us now, that there were at least 2 arrests in that specific area around that burning police car on Queen Street, downtown Toronto. So the police seem to have restored some sense of, hard to call it order when you look at a picture like that, but some sense of more calmness than it was a little while ago as they've moved in force. But we've kind of witnessed this chess game over the last couple of hours when police move in one area, protesters move out, or hooligans, as was the case in this area, they then move to cause some kind of chaos and seem to be funneling them right out of the area. There have been a significant number of arrests, not exactly sure how many, but we've seen on camera what appeared to be 8 to 10 people arrested in this Queen's Park area, at least in terms of 8 to 10, maybe perhaps more. Some running going on in that area, unclear what is provoking that. But here's the situation still around Queen's Park. You know, we're kind of monitoring this, watching it, trying to get a firm handle. Well, there's clearly an arrest in the process of happening as police officers take away at least one fella, and he's got those plastic handcuffs on his arms as they lead him away. Okay, let's go back to Queen's Park. It appears that, Queen Street, appears that situation now is over. Susan Ormiston has been there through the thick of it. Susan, what can you tell us?
Yes, you're quite right. The situation is now fully under control. We're just being asked to move back ourselves. The fire trucks are here. They are putting out the flames on that burning police car. The riot squad is here in force, and they have cleared this street, but not before. They charged the crowd, pushing them back along this city street, made several arrests, people on the ground being handcuffed and taken away, marched away, and then they kept everybody 500 meters away from this area, and they're trying to deal with the burning car, and they are doing that successfully. So this situation has dissipated, but it did go on for quite a long time, Peter, before any presence came back to deal with the burning vehicle on this downtown street. It's quite a scene out here. The street is littered. There's smoke in the air with the car being doused with flame, and 2 lines lines now. I'm standing in between each of them, one to the east of me, one to the west, of riot police containing this situation.
And what's that crowd doing in that area? Are they standing next to the police, or are they, what are they doing?
The crowd is quite a bit away from me now, but they seem to have gone actually north up a side street.
Into the evening. For how long now becomes the issue, and one assumes the later it gets and the darker it gets, the more difficult it can be for police to affect some change in terms of the situation. The police car business that we've witnessed and Susan has been telling us about on Queen Street will once again be one of those things where questions are raised about police action. This car was damaged quite some time ago and had been left in the middle of the road, or at the edge of the road, as you can see it there. In some ways, it was just sitting there waiting to be torched. There had been other police cars set afire earlier. Nobody was guarding it, so to speak, and it hadn't been towed away. What should it have been? What was the point in leaving it where it was? Obviously, there were other things that had to be done, but it was left there. But, you know, that's one of the small questions that will be raised about today as we move forward, whether this was the right place to use the summit, whether or not police moved fast enough on some of the protests earlier in the day. Let's go back to Queen's Park, where that standoff continues, to get the latest from Stephen D'Souza. Stephen.
Oh, boy. Well, Peter, sorry, just in a minute, and just as you were throwing to me, the police just ran about 10 feet and towards us. I'm standing right now about, so sorry, Peter, I hope you can still hear me there.
Yeah, no, we still got you, and we're appreciating very much the kind of situation you put yourself in, you and the camera. There's
a bit of journalism on the run here, Peter. I'm getting a pretty good workout here, but as you can, I have to say, it's just a question of why the police are continually moving this crowd back, where people at this point right now mostly have their back turned to police officers, and are walking away. And police are still going to move forward. So